Hello and welcome to
Closing the Gap.
Motorsport Diaries.
I am Ari.
And my name is Aranza.
Welcome to another mini episode of this everlasting spring break.
Yeah, never ending.
It's technically a mini episode. Like, we're not trying to label them episodes. And at this point, I don't think it's because of length, because this one's going to be longer than a couple
the
weeks
last
ago.
one, yeah.
It's just because there's no official race tied to this episode, which
Yes.
I guess it shouldn't matter, but it does.
But it does make our episodes a little bit longer. There's actually a bit to talk
A
about.
lot has happened in the last week and a half.
And I will say, before we actually jump into everything, there is going to be another 3-week long break right after Miami. If you guys were not checking the calendar between Miami and I believe it's Canada after, there's a 3-week long break. So,
but at this point, we're used to it, right? Like, we already know where to look for other series, other outlets to let our rage out.
100%. And we'll get into our going to an actual race.
We went to the IndyCar last weekend.
Yeah, IMSA was there.
Which,
drift cars were there.
parenthetical,
Super trucks.
I know. I found out about those on TikTok. I did not see them myself. And I was like,
They were
when?
in the morning.
I missed them. And I'm like,
They're
that
so
would have been
fun.
so cool to see.
The first time I went to IndyCar and I literally rocked up and it was the trucks and I was like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that?
It was so cool.
And
I
it's
feel
so fun.
It was so packed. It was a packed weekend. They put on, like, honestly, such a great schedule for all the
Packed
other race
Friday.
goers.
Yeah, packed.
We got to see the drift, which honestly I had never seen it in real life.
I didn't.
It was
so jealous.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it. I need to hand it to them. Like, I have never been into IMSA. Like, I've never really looked into it or anything. But those cars, real life, whoa! Like, they blew my mind. Also, Porsche.
So good.
I had seen Porsche in Silverstone a few years back.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them being that noisy. It was.
It's
It was a lot.
We're in the middle of downtown Long Beach. Like, it's gonna be, there's a movie theater right in front. There's walls there, so all the noise just gets centered into.
And then you
everything.
see them like go this way, and then 2 seconds later you see them go this way.
It's such a
so
fun
much.
track.
It was so loud though.
Well,
like the Porsche was a little loud for
Super
me.
loud. Yeah, I had to put on headphones because I
didn't take
could
any.
not. I had to buy some. They were like $2. If you guys go to Long Beach next year, just know they're $2 at the track for earplugs.
Yeah, for the Porsche ones, worth it.
You need it.
For sure.
You need it.
Indy, I feel like we're used to it. Like, they're slightly less noisy than the F1 cars. So
Yes, they are. And they're also really fun. But we'll divulge into that later.
I think we need to add the fact that the entire motorsport community is mourning the loss of Juha Miettinen, which I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right.
I think it's German, so it might have a slightly different pronunciation, but
He passed in the first qualifier of NLS last weekend, right? I personally, obviously, like, our condolences, peace and strength to all of his family and friends. The entire committee is mourning this loss, but obviously, everybody directly related to him. Like, we can't imagine what they're going through. And this just puts everything back into perspective of, like, how fast we can just go in terms of life, right? Like, how fast just life goes by, regardless of what you do for a living or for a passion. Matter of fact, he was 66 years old, right? Like, he was in there because he wanted to be, in the sense of that's what he loved doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you ask a lot of drivers, that's the way they would rather go. But that doesn't make it any less painful or sad. So all of our thoughts are with his family and friends.
Yeah, I actually did mention it to one of my cousins because when I found out, I was with them and I was shocked to my core. And also, it was a 7-car accident. Like, they were all in there together.
It was really bad.
It was so bad. And when, literally the first thing she said, well, you know what? Maybe he's happy with the fact that he died doing what he loved. And I don't, I can't say anything about it. It might be true. It might not be true. Like, it's still tragic for his family for the most part. Like, yeah, he might have died doing what he loved, but for his family, he's still dead, he's still not alive anymore. And you know.
And he was young. I mean, if you put it in perspective,
No, he was
66 years old is definitely, you still have so much more
life to live.
do. Yeah. In that sense, I guess they always know this risk, right? Like a racing incident that ends tragically, it's always a risk that every single time they get in the car, they know that this can happen. And I'm not saying it makes it in any sense easier or, you know, like more fair. But if you compare it to accidents that could have been prevented, you know, that they were definitely not racing incidents like Jules, you know, like the big ones.
Yeah.
Where definitely there is so much that the sport, or you know, the marshals, the safety, like where the sport failed them.
Yes.
Where it wasn't a racing incident, then you know, like it's accidents happen, unfortunately, but there are some that come with the territory, and some others that could have definitely been prevented.
Exactly. Yeah, as I say, you know, there's risk in everything, and they know what they're getting into when they hop into that car. Obviously, things do come out of nowhere, and it's not expected. There's some things that could be prevented, and there's just some things that just nobody could have ever seen coming.
Now, if we go into the media side of things, I think there is so much room for improvement in the way those headlines were handled.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned it, because I was going to mention the way that they just, and I get it because they do it everywhere, but the way that they just threw Max's name for more clicks, like, it's not about Max. It's not about him at all.
The fact that he was in the circuit does not make it about him.
No, like, anybody could have been there. The Pope could have been there for all I care, but it is not about him. Mm-hmm. It's not about them. We literally lost a life. He dedicated his life to this sport as well. Just because he was not in Formula One, just because he dedicated his life to motorsport, it does not matter that Max was there. He has nothing to do with that. He wasn't even on the track.
He wasn't on the track.
He wasn't one of the cars that crashed into. You could have mentioned every other one of the 6 drivers as well. But no, you decided to put Max up front for what? For clicks, for views? People are going to view it anyway.
100%. Yep. I mean, you nailed it on the head. It's just, his name was in every headline. And I mean, he was in the circuit at the same time, literally just prepping, because he wasn't even going to go until the 3rd qualifier, I think. Mm-hmm. So the fact that his name made every single headline was very unnecessary.
They put his name, if they didn't put his name first, they made sure to mention it last so that everyone could see the Max Verstappen name. Like, it was not necessary.
The press, honestly, is just so...
It was disappointing.
Very disappointing.
And it does, like, motorsports is not the only place that it happens, and we know that, and we recognize that, but it is just so disappointing that it keeps happening, and it's something that we're not, you know, that it's just still out there.
Yep. With that being said, we can move on to... So many things are happening on the break, I feel like, and everything else is going to be, you know, like on better news or better notes. But that needed to be said because it's an immense loss for the community, and, you know, and it's just thoughts for everybody that is directly affected by this.
Yeah, and it definitely has a lot to say towards the FIA that we had. Obviously, in Formula One, we had Ollie Behrman's crash, which was... luckily didn't end in tragedy. Nothing happened there. Everything was all good. But now with this, also, like, the FIA has a hand in that as well. So, you know, there's a lot of things that they internally, I would hope, review and see what's going on.
So with that, I think we can jump into the drum roll.
Lighter news. On to lighter and brighter news.
Well, not brighter, really. I don't think we're going on to the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we probably are not going on to the same thing.
The FIA finally released.
Oh, that's not the same thing I was going for.
The FIA finally released the changes in the regulations they're going to implement for Miami. I said drum roll, but like a very like type of drum roll, to be honest with you, because it's not enough. And I remember I made a TikTok, the Hallelujah trend TikTok, yes. Right? And I said, new regulations fixed. But that was genuinely like...
They did the bare minimum.
To gaslight every single person watching, because those are not fixed.
These are bare minimum.
They barely touched any of it. I think there were four main things that they hit that, as much as they will help, they should have done better. They should have done more. And Miami is still going to be a testing ground for this. I don't think we're going to see a big difference. And this is the thing. There's all sorts of F1 fans in this spectrum, right? From the people that just see, whoop, whoop, cars go, vroom, vroom,
Yep.
to the people that are like, well, no, the kilowatts and the joules, and if you, the push and the alchemy, get all physician, mathematicians, like all sorts of issues
Which I
around
need to
it.
befriend those people, because there's some things that I'm like, I need to like learn a little bit more about that.
And I think I land in the happy medium. A little bit more towards, the people are a little bit more technical, because I definitely enjoy strategy and the tires and everything that goes into that. I don't know much about, and more so with the new things like the battery harvesting and all these things. But one thing we know true is that China is kind of like the same as Miami, where there are no like high speed corners that are not close to a braking zone. You know what I mean? So it's easier to harvest battery if you have a braking zone right before a high speed corner, because it's kind of done for you. Like, it tells you exactly where you need to harvest, right? So Miami in that sense is the same as China. So a lot of people, if they're not really, dialed into like the numbers of it all, they're not going to see a difference. I feel like Miami, regardless, is setting up the fans for disappointment and failure, in the sense of, we didn't see any difference. You were never going to see any difference. It's the same track as China.
Well,
Is designed the same
Yeah,
way.
it's also like it's kind of known that Miami kind of sucks. Like, it's not a good track at all. It's
Amen.
fun and it's great. Kind of like
Creates-
Vegas.
It makes for great content.
Yes. Like the edits this year started so early, and if you have not seen the edits, like the F1 editors,
It's so colorful too.
so gorgeous. Like, it's beautiful. It is marketing glory. It is what every brand aims to, have and, create and everything like that. It's gorgeous. For marketing, business wise, same as Vegas.
Graphics.
But racing wise, sucks. And it's known throughout the community that it's not really the best race. It's, you're going for entertainment purposes, not for technicality purposes. And that's why we won't see any of the, like,
It's not Singapore. It's not
Unless-
Abu
yeah.
Dhabi. It's not Baku.
there's not much that we can tell that there will be a difference. We will probably be able to notice a little bit of it more in Montreal. But Miami, it's probably just going to be racing as usual, or as normal as it could get.
So if you're new around here, my personal advice would be, don't stress. We're going to see, for the people that don't really know what's going on, we're going to see a lot more hate coming the Formula One way in the next week. Well, the week after Miami, I should say, actually, not next week. I'm so excited already. I just say, take it as face value, watch the race, enjoy it as much as you can, enjoy it for the entertainment and spectacle of it all, because a lot of the regulation changes are probably not going to be as visible in Miami. One of the things they did was reducing the maximum amount of energy you can harvest, which means they can go longer without having to recharge the battery. So, it's a little bit less pressure on them having to, now I have to do it again, and now I have to do it again, and now I have to do it again. They gave exact numbers. It's, like joules and kilowatts and all these things that, like whatever numbers I throw at you, like half of the people are probably not even gonna
Understand.
and I'm with those half of the people. Like I read all of it and I was like, so what you're telling me is,
I know some of these words.
right? In my brain, I register as like a little bit less than a quarter of what it used to be, which I guess in the car
It makes a difference.
it makes a difference
It
for
makes
the
a
drivers,
difference.
100%. So they don't have to focus as much on recharging, because there's only a certain amount of harvesting they can do. Once they hit that, they don't have to worry about it for a little bit longer, I guess. They also increase the super clipping, which means the electric motor can take more from the actual fuel motor. And that way you lose less speed on the streets.
Gotcha.
However,
like learning with you guys what this means, because she like she said, she's a little bit more logistics wise and she understands it faster than I would. So we're learning together here.
so yeah, with the increase of that super clipping, technically it can rely more on letting the electric part of it take a little bit more from the fuel part of the motor, and in that sense they can go flat out. We're still not going to see on the straights. We're still not going to see the speeds that we were seeing before.
Okay.
Like, yeah, they're going to go faster, but not as
fast. Okay.
And for quali, this is a big one. But I mean, like I said, like these are small fixes, you guys.
Yeah,
like you're not going to
this
see
is
a lot
embarrassing
of
at this point.
changes. Yeah. They reduced the harvesting limit in quali, which means that they're not going to depend on the battery as much.
Okay.
With that being said, that also means less speed.
Right.
Because if you can only harvest a certain amount of energy, right? But you're not depending on the battery. Like for one lap, you should be fine.
Yeah.
But that also means less speed. We're not gonna still see. So let's say if we were to compare it with fastest lap last year in Miami with this year, like the laps are going to be, all of them are going to be slower.
Gotcha.
Because as much as they did reduce the limit in harvesting, you're still relying on the battery to an extent.
So to the people that pay attention to timings and make their entire
Laps.
life about timings, me included, that is where we will see the changes.
Kimmy Antonelli is one of them.
That
he's gonna
man is
suffer.
crazy.
He remembers every single lap
His memory
time.
is insane.
Yeah.
I wish.
Right? I mean, at that age, you probably remember everything. Remember,
You would hope. You would hope, because I barely remember if I had breakfast this morning. She'll tell me
True.
something, and then 2 seconds later, she'll ask me, and I'll be like, I don't know what you said.
I blanked out. Completely did not pay attention.
No clue.
They also limited the boost in certain areas of the circuit, so different areas of every circuit. It's different for the corners, it's different for the straights, but they did reduce numbers in the sense of how much the drivers can boost and use that feature.
Okay.
And that is in order to prevent the difference in speeds that we saw.
The huge
Basically,
difference, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, what caused Ollie Berman and Franco Colapinto's crash
Yeah.
was the difference in speed. And I feel like that was the big exclamation marks of everybody,
Yep.
including the drivers. We said this was going to happen. So the fact that they limited that boost, that in that case, Ollie
It will
Berman
help.
would have, yes, that is going to limit that. So there's not such big difference in speeds with the car ahead. And one of the main things they changed was the boost coming out of a corner.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's different for straights and braking zones, but all the numbers vary. But that's one of the things they also implemented.
That's good, because that's the biggest
a big
thing
one.
everybody was complaining about. And it makes sense after we saw that crash, or even before, like the difference in speeds is insane when you compare it. But yeah, that's good.
And then the last one that was like worth mentioning was the safe start or safe boost start. They're naming different things all across social media, and I can't remember what it said on the actual documents. But basically, to prevent what happened on the starts, when some of the cars, was it Lawson?
Okay.
Was
Yeah.
it Gasly? It was one of them
We also
too,
had
right?
Kimmy as well.
Where they just stall.
Uh-huh.
So kind of like a little boost to make sure that in case it happens, it's safe. Because like
Gotcha.
everybody's lights out and you step on the gas
Yeah.
and you go. So if a car stalls, you're getting literally all of your back blown by the car right behind you.
Yeah.
So it's considered a little boost so you don't stall, just to get you going. But a lot of people are questioning, where is this? Is it going to be an actual boost to help your race start? So I don't really know how that's going to work. It's a question mark around the community right now.
I would hope, and this is just me like thinking, I would hope it's if they feel the car is stalling, or that it's an automatic, hey, you have this boost ready, like the car is stalling, here's the boost. Like it's something that pops up that you can use, that if the car, unless the car, because they do have like computers in the car recognizes when something's happening. The team obviously can recognize when something's happening, so they can have record of, hey, the car said it was stalling, so it activated the boost, and they're
Yeah.
able to push it. And if it's not, then they can't push it because obviously that would be unfair.
I think it's only for safety. So the
Gotcha.
car behind you doesn't completely
Yeah.
run you over. I also think, like I said, I can't remember exactly what the wording of it is, but the fact that the word boost is the one going around, I
Yeah.
think it's going to play a lot into the misconception of what this feature actually does.
Gotcha.
Maybe we wouldn't call it a boost, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people will relate the word boost with an advantage,
Yep.
and that's what it's not supposed to be. But we'll see.
Interesting.
Like I said,
We'll see how it plays out.
Miami's not going to provide a lot in that sense of seeing black and white with the regulations. Again, if we did run the numbers, it is not big differences. I think the
Yeah.
biggest difference is the reduction in the boost on coming into high-speed corners and coming out of high-speed corners, which is what's going to prevent the big accidents. But other than that, it's not big changes.
Yeah.
And
No, it doesn't sound like it, honestly.
we're going to have to give it until Canada to really see what's up, I think.
Yeah, I think probably the next three, within the next three races, like we'll start slowly seeing what actually changed. And I'm gonna assume the FIA will still continue to update as we go along, or hope that they update as we go along and see what's going on.
Yep. So there's your roundup of what changed.
Yeah, what kind of changed?
That being said, the
Okay.
biggest
This
biggest
is what
news.
I thought we were going into next. So, our girl.
Yes, honestly, that is what's brought me the most happiness out of this break.
Oh, truly? If you don't know what we're talking about, Doriane Pin finally got to drive a Formula One car.
And not any Formula One drive car, you guys. The W12, which if you don't know, the W12 won a championship 5 years ago. So honestly, standing ovation.
So
This girl
good,
is
so good.
breaking all the barriers, and we are so here for it. We are so impressed by her. We are so proud of her. It is honestly a huge step in the right direction.
And you know what? You had called it. Like, she is going to be our way into Formula One, like the women's way into Formula One. Like, she is, her and Mercedes, obviously the Mercedes team has like been backing her from the beginning, from the moment they signed her. They have been backing her and they have believed in her, and obviously it makes sense because, again, Susie and Toto, you know, they're all in with their drivers. And
I think it's worth saying that F1 Academy came in to completely not only change the game for women in Formula One, but revolutionize it.
yeah,
Because we have 3 champions, right? We have Marta 3 years ago. We had Abby last year.
the first
Well,
woman.
2 years ago. And then Doriane
Last
Pin,
year,
reigning
Doriane.
champion, correct? So it is worth saying that, not to say that Martha has gone on public and record to say that she didn't feel as supported once she had already accomplished a championship.
Yeah,
Abby, she is, because Martha right now, I don't think she's in any series.
I don't think she is. Abby's doing
Abby is doing great.
amazing. But
She's on the GB.
granted, yeah, she's on GB3,
Yeah.
and I believe she was one of the people that went into Formula E to do testing.
Yes.
Yeah, she did testing for Formula E as well. But she's doing so good. And credit where credit is due, it's her. She's the one pulling and finding, and like
She's
follow
a very
her,
skilled driver.
Like, I follow her career particularly because I see her putting in the work, putting in the effort. I don't 100% know that anybody on the back end is helping her other than her manager, who I believe right now she's living with, to try and help her out. Like, she does her own sales of her own merch to fund her racing, to fund going whatever. So
If you haven't seen the F1 Academy documentary, please go watch it.
yeah. And even like, she still to this day, she'll make like special helmets and special just merch and everything like that. She'll sell it and she'll tell you this is what it's for, this is what this money is going to go towards. Like, obviously everything goes to funding her racing career, but she's doing it on her own. And like, credit where credit is due. Abby, the first woman, So much love to you.
And so where I was going mostly with Mercedes is we know and we've talked about this. I feel like every episode
Yeah.
we talk about how Susie Wolf is responsible. She's just, spearheading the actual movement. We know there's so many people behind it all happening. We know,
Yeah.
it's an entire teams behind Doriane, behind Susie's vision, and obviously Toto's support. It means
Yeah.
everything. But credit to Mercedes for putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Because they really are coming through for Doriane.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to see. I don't know if you saw, like from the seat fitting to the the
She's
prep,
so
like her with the engineers, and to do it in Silverstone of all places,
It was
which is
so
legendary.
amazing.
To see her in that car, I feel like it just
Also, to credit Mercedes, the amount of content that they
yes,
gave
yes,
for a private session that they're not allowed to show us, but they gave us so much content to let us know, hey, it is private. You won't be able to see her actually race, but here she is. She's here. She's doing it. We're proud of her. We love her.
and then
Love to see that.
rumors started running around like a few days earlier that Dorian was gonna test privately in Silverstone with a Mercedes car, and then we learned the details afterwards.
Yeah.
But I love that people are starting saying, oh, it's gonna be a private testing, what private tasting? Like they've literally blasted it everywhere, which I
It
love.
was amazing. Yeah, honestly, normally it would be a private testing, and it would be how Maranello does it sometimes, where it's just shut down. Everyone,
Yeah.
nobody can see, and it's
No
we'll see when we
cameras
see,
allowed,
nothing. But I'm so glad that they ended up doing content, even though they couldn't show us the actual test. The fact that we got so much content out of it has been, oh my God, it's amazing. And they still are putting out so much content.
And feedbacks, they've released some feedback here and there. I can't remember exactly where I saw it. It wasn't official Mercedes, I think, content. It was one of it might have been Formula One Academy or something. But they did release some statements from the engineers. They did say she was able to feel 4.5G force in one of the corners, and that she performed physically up
Really
to
well.
par. So and
I
then
can't wait
the
to see her in
speeds
F1.
that she reached and everything, they said she did amazing, and nobody's saying she did amazing for a woman. They're just saying she did amazing
overall.
Period.
Yeah.
So I feel
Oh,
I said 2 years ago, I said 5
in
years.
5 years, yeah.
Right? And I'm sticking to those 5 years, honestly, if not sooner.
The day that we see her as a reserve driver and doing her FP, her mandatory practice in an F1 car, oh, tears, the amount of tears that I will have.
The W12 is the one that won, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me. You will correct me if I'm mistaken. I think it's the 2020 championship.
I'm not sure, actually.
So that's the car that Lewis Hamilton himself won the championship in
So
2020.
great.
So that's insane. I know Aston Martin had done it with Jessica Hawkins in 2023. It was also a private test, and it was a Formula One car. But Dorian's, active. She is in their program. They're developing her to become one of their drivers. So there's a little bit more hope this time around, I want to say.
Yeah, because now she's in their driver development and, everything.
And Susie
like
Wolf
that.
she's there.
She's
She's
there. She's
making sure
making
it's
it
going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So props to everybody involved. We are the happiest we've ever been in this sport.
we finally see progress for women in motorsports, or not in motorsports, but in Formula One. Because if you don't know, there are women in motorsports already.
All around.
Obviously. We also have this huge.
We had what she competed in Le Mans. We have
She has and to that, she has also worked with the Iron Dames, who they are amazing. If you guys don't follow them, please go follow them. They do so many things, and I believe Doriane has actually worked with them before. So yeah, there's so many more women in motorsports, just not in F1. And I think the goal, obviously because it's a little bit more worldwide, is women in Formula One again, because there used to be women in Formula One before, if you didn't know.
And now that we're in the Mercedes family, Can we do a health check on George Russell?
No. No, that man is fine. He's good.
He's about to have a biblical crash out this season. I swear, this poor man. Just, it's coming. It's coming. Like, I swear, I feel like he's finally feeling like he's getting to a place where, you know, possibilities of world championship are almost there. He can't touch him. And I don't know. I feel like the rug's gonna be pulled from under him.
Listen, that's what I predict. So I don't know. Listen, we're going in the right direction for my predictions. I'm so sorry, George Russell, but that's what I predict. Kimi world champion.
Driver's breaks.
Yes.
So Carlos is back at the factory. Thank you very much. Somebody's working in this break anyway. But I feel like if we're talking about things that are definitely making headlines this break, we need to talk about the fact that, well, technically 20 drivers actually,
well, more like 18, 19, depending,
are going to jail. So
they're all
we
locked
woke up yesterday with the whole
locked up. They won't let me out.
The whole of Italy saying tax evasion. All of these drivers owe us money. And it was just hilarious.
Mind you, everyone, it's always been a joke that they're tax evading kings. Yeah,
they live in Monaco.
That's why they all live in Monaco.
Like, and then the jokes started coming out. If you don't know what we're talking about, Italy taxes profits made when you are in. So even though they are, yes, so their salaries is technically what they don't have to get taxed on because they reside in Monaco. If you make any kind of profits while in Italian soil, you need to pay taxes on that profit.
Yep.
Which a lot of the drivers, you know, like merge, and you get bonuses when you win races and stuff like that. So that's what they're coming for.
Yes.
And after. So, you know, like Max,
so
Lewis, Charles.
Yeah, for Imola, they're good on that. The only thing that they're focused on was Monza last year, which why would they bring that up? First of all, that's kind of disrespectful.
So Valtteri wasn't there. They're saying a few years back, so we don't really know about
who.
But we know Arvid's in the clear.
Arvid, our king, he's clear.
Kimi's Italian, so they can't come after him.
No, and Pierre
paid all of his taxes.
Yeah, Pierre lives in Milan, so they can't come after him.
That was the interesting one because Pierre does live in Milan. It is new-ish. He hasn't been living there for that long, so it depends on what year it's gonna be.
100%.
But you would think in order to reside there, he probably has everything in order, right?
And also probably the Ferrari drivers are safe because
are they though?
You know,
I feel like they're gonna come after the big earners, and if it depends on what year it is we're talking about, because Lewis wasn't in Ferrari. Yeah. So I actually think they're gonna come for them the hardest.
You know who might get taxed the most? Max.
Probably. Most likely.
Like, that man is getting taxed.
Franco, because he doesn't make any fucking money.
Yeah, Franco's safe. Franco, we're good. For once, it's good to be poor.
I don't feel like they have to worry about the rookies. Like they hardly make any
Last
money,
year's rookies, this year's one rookie, we don't have to worry about them. Also, they
Isaac's fine.
depending
Ollie's
on what
fine.
year. Well, Isaac's not fine. Actually, I don't know if you saw.
I haven't.
But this man got stopped by the cops in Monaco.
What? For what?
I have no idea. But the way I found out about it was that someone posted it on Twitter saying, first driver just got arrested. What?
My man can catch a break.
Like, leave him alone.
He wasn't even born yet.
Right.
Oh
my
no,
God.
I didn't see.
But yeah, I don't know why he got stopped, but it literally, like, he was in his car and someone took a video and it was the cops just talking to him. It might have just been the cops being like, hi, how you doing? You know, but
like routine.
Yeah, I have no idea why he actually got stopped because everyone just went in on the joke.
Sure.
So I mean, Isaac might not be fine. That man might be in jail.
Blink twice if the Italians got you.
I know a little bit of Italian. I can probably try to get you out of there.
But yeah, I think they're gonna come for the big earners. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Lewis is going to jail.
Well, that's the thing. They're saying obviously if you haven't paid your taxes, usually
it's like back
the
taxes.
diligence is you pay them back. Yeah. Period. But with Italian law, if it's above a certain percentage, not percentage. I think there's a was it 25,000 or 50
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
50,000
yeah.
over
Amount of money. Yeah,
owed,
yeah, yeah.
then it is jail time. So that's why they're saying, because we're talking big numbers.
So, question here: does the team not take care of that? Where's HR in all of this?
The team doesn't take care of any of that. That doesn't, like, they're like, this is our box. This is what we take care of. Everything else, that's
So
on
where
you.
is
So
HR in all of this? The real villain, HR.
I think it's the driver's team that takes care of that.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm talking out of my.
Shouldn't it be also that's why we're asking questions. Shouldn't it also be like, especially if they know Italian law, like they should know what places they should get taxed and like double triple check if like it'll be in the contract as well. Like, hey, just double checking that in Italy you will get, if you make over a certain amount of money, it'll get taxed.
Yeah.
It should be in a contract as well, mind you.
¿Quién sabe?
Because if it's not in a contract, Lewis hit up Mercedes. They're paying for that.
I need to know. I feel like I kind of like scanned through certain things, but I couldn't figure out what year was it. I feel like if we knew what year, we could deduce better.
I don't think they've mentioned a year. They just said they're looking into
Back taxes.
Mind you, Jensen Button, if you get a call, don't answer.
Oh no. Leave him alone. We will all protect that man. Which, speaking of hosts, Laura Winter came back.
With a baby.
She brought the baby. Did you see?
With Esteban
Oh
and
my
Ollie.
God. She brought the baby to, I don't know if it looked like it was in a Haas environment. And also Esteban
think they were doing
and Ollie
interviews
were
with
there.
Haas, yeah.
And it is the cutest thing because I don't know if you guys were around then, but when Ollie saw Laura when she was pregnant, or he found that she was pregnant, he gave her a little Ollie bear. A little teddy bear, right? For
So
the baby. And so now that she brought back the baby, it's a picture of Ollie with the baby. You can't see the baby, obviously.
Yeah.
And then with the little bear, like Esteban's holding the bear. It's the
So
cutest
cute.
thing. So thank you for that, Haas. Thank you for that, Laura.
So adorable. All the pictures with Esteban and Ollie and the baby and Laura.
Congratulations,
looks
Laura.
amazing.
So
She looks
happy to have you back.
amazing. Yeah. We missed you. She wasn't
really
gone that
did.
long, actually. Which, props to you, girl. You were not gone that long. You should be gone a little bit more.
bit.
Like, I know we love work. We love to work. Girl boss. But take a break, babe. You deserve it.
Also, Ruth did amazing. I think we saw a little bit more of Ruth.
Ruth was in Long
And
Beach.
yeah. Oh, she was?
Yeah,
Oh,
her
wow.
husband works for Honda. And so she was there. She was with the race. Alex Pello won. So they, they
Alex
did
Powell
their thing.
continues to reign over IndyCar. And I wish I could say I was sad about it, but I'm not.
No.
Honestly, like, no regrets. Yes, King. Yes. Nobody will ever get bored of this. Like, I mean,
100%.
I guess if, as McLaren fans and as Pato fans.
You know what? Pato was in there. Like, he
tried.
He tried so hard. I think Long Beach and the Indy 500 is one of those for Pato that are just like.
Well, Long Beach is home for him. Like, he considers it
yeah,
home.
yeah. So like I think those two races are just very much like he needs to win one year, and I hope he does. Especially the Indy 500 has broken my heart so many times. Like, I think it was 2 years ago when he was
almost.
was there. Like, he was
it was
the
really
way
sad.
I sobbed.
Yeah, I think everybody
Sobbed.
that we are like Pato fans, that was a hard one. That was a hard pill to swallow that year.
hard one, yeah.
100%, because it was literally almost there. Like, we could have had it.
Yeah. It was insane.
But Alex,
yeah.
honestly, credit where credit is due, and Alex is doing
great.
so great.
Yeah.
So he's so good, and every single win, like, and I think that's why sometimes, and a lot of people will agree with this, where they say like IndyCar, they've been doing this for longer in the sense of like the electric batteries and all these things. They've gotten down, like their graphics in that sense, the sport, the overtakes and stuff like that. Indy, to an extent, right now, a lot of people would say it's a better series than Formula One, where we're at with this regulation.
Right now. Yeah, Pato would also say.
He did
and
say.
has said over and over again.
And so I think it's arguable that now that Alex Palou is literally just winning and winning and winning, you can't say that anything has been given to him, or that, like,
No.
he genuinely has earned every single win. So that's why I'm like, props to him.
He's doing so good from last year as well. This year, he's been killing. Last year, he was winning pretty much every single race. Like, he
Good
was
for him.
doing amazing things.
And yeah, Indy, honestly, this break is a great excuse if you were trying to get into any other series, check out Indy, because honestly, it's so good. It's so good. We met Pato, actually. Different instances.
did.
But honestly, the one I was so sad to not meet was Nolan. I really wanted to meet Nolan.
Oh, Nolan was so
He's
sweet.
the
I met
cutest thing.
Nolan. You know who I'm very upset at? Mick Schumacher. You and me have to have fights.
Excuse me? You leave my man alone?
It was so funny because he literally walked by me. I was there in the paddock, and I was like, I obviously don't want to bother him. He's, doing his job. And the 2 times that he came out and I was going to be like, hey, do you mind? He, like, ran out of there. The first time he did have to use the restroom, so forgiven. But on his way back, because I went to go
Was nobody
somewhere
else stopping him?
No, so I was there with another girl, which shout out Andrea, I love you, girl. But
We weren't there at the
she,
same
like,
time.
No,
so.
we weren't. I met her there. She's a great photographer. She does a lot of
Cool.
motorsport photography. So like she's so good. And she said that she was gonna pass me a couple of the pictures.
Nice.
So she did so good. But I went to go somewhere else. I don't remember why I left, but I left, and I was coming back. And she said, did you see him? He walked right by.
Stop.
So, like, on his way back from the restroom, she's like, he just went to the restroom, but he came back. She got a picture with him. And we'll post that on our TikTok and stuff. She gave me permission. But she got a picture with him, and I'm so happy for her. And she was, like, I came back, and she was so excited. She's like, did you see him? I took a picture. And I was like, this mother.
Leave my man alone.
But yeah, and then the second time he also just walked past me like really quickly because he was busy. He was speaking German. I don't know what he had going on, but there was something going on.
I'm
and I was
so
just like,
sad
you know
I
what,
didn't get to. Like, I've been dying to meet this man for years.
girl, me too. He was right here talking to somebody else, and I was like, but yeah, I didn't want to bother him. He like seems very busy, and I'm not the type to be like, hi, can you? I was just like patiently waiting, and he just didn't. So I was like, okay, that's fine. At least he was right here, closer than you and I.
Ew.
But he was, yeah.
So she went in the morning. We kind of like took it. I had a flight that morning, so I landed.
AM shift, PM shift.
We literally had to do it that way, unfortunately. But we make do with what we have.
Yep.
So she took the AM shift. I took the PM shift.
Yeah, I got to see the super trucks. She got to see drift, which I was very jealous of.
And then I got to see all of them really, except for the monster trucks.
Yeah.
I got to see IMSA, I got to see Porsche, I got to see Indy and Drift. So honestly, money well invested.
If you ever get a chance to go to an IndyCar race, go for it because they are so much fun. There's always something happening. Even like there was so many, because we went on the Friday, it's usually like the Long Beach residents free day. So it was a lot of residents. And it was a lot of people being like, oh, like, that's so cool. Like, they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what kind of racing it was. They didn't know, they were just there to see the different cars. As you do, like, there's a race in your city. You get free tickets because you're a local. And so you go to check. Like, that's how the sport grows. And so there was a lot of people there just like that, like, not fans of the sport, but just checking
Discovering
it out.
it, yeah.
And I think IndyCar is one of the places where you can go and do that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the paddock as well that were doing that, which they're like, oh, this is so cool. And which, if you get a chance to, like, that the IndyCar paddock is probably one of the cheapest ones for you to go to.
Let
and
alone
it's
cheapest
so
one.
chill.
It is the chillest one. Like,
it is so chill.
if your idea of paddock is what happens in the formulas, like, leave that aside. The IndyCar paddock is, you will see everybody will stop, everybody will chat to you. They're around all the time. Mm-hmm. It's not like you've seen it on the formulas, I think.
No,
everything's
it's
just
so packed
yeah.
and everything. Yeah, no. It gets packed closer to like
Race day.
Race day gets really packed, but also after their practice. After IndyCar practice, it gets packed. It gets like everybody and their mamas there.
Yeah.
So, and usually you have to wait it out because obviously after they have their practice, they have to have their team meetings and they have to go. I think they had like a autograph signing scheduled for after too. So they have so many things to do after getting out of the cars that it's usually best to go in the morning and just, get it over with. It's so chill. You can just walk yourself literally everywhere around there.
I think we've covered most of what's been going on for the last week and a half to 2 weeks. Now moving forward, MotoGP. MotoGP is back, and I could not be more excited about it. However, it is happening at the oddest and silliest of times for us. I think quali is like at 2 a.m. Like, come on,
it's crazy.
get y'all together. And then the race is at 4 a.m. Like, you guys, what
are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Am I gonna wake up to watch it? Honestly, quali, I don't think so. I will watch the race, of course.
I don't think I'll wake up for the race. I'll watch the highlights or I'll rewatch later because I have a flight at 6 a.m. that day. So,
yeah, same. I think my flight is at 7. But yeah, anyways, make sure you check out MotoGP if you haven't. We do highly recommend it. It's one of our favorite series. And let us know if we missed anything, if we got anything wrong. A lot of new information covered on this one. Yeah. Or how you've been spending your break.
Please let us know how you've been spending your break.
Please give us some more ideas. And with that, we will see you probably right after Miami. I think that's going to be the first episode. I think that's
our next one. See you after Miami.
Enjoy, guys. Have a good one.